Welcome to the Chaos Commanders podcast. I'm Annie, aka Commander A, military wife, mom of two, and seasoned in navigating deployments, juggling schedules, and life's unpredictable missions.
And I'm Katelynn, aka Commander K, solo mom to a busy neurodivergent teenage boy, business owner, and skilled chaos wrangler.
We're here for the moms who do it all, the sideline CEOs, the late night warriors, the women leading in their homes, businesses, and beyond.
If you've ever felt like you're running a tactical operation just to get through the day, this is the place for you. We're bringing raw, unfiltered conversations, honest insights, and tangible strategies to help you command the chaos like the Wonder Woman you are.
So grab your coffee, wine, or whatever keeps you going, because we're diving in.
It's me. Hi. I'm the problem.
Oh no, what did you do? Okay, listen, Commanders. Sometimes we're not just managing chaos, we're creating it. Let's be honest here. We are not immune.
Yep, this isn't about shaming ourselves, but wow, sometimes we are definitely the problem. I am raising my hand right now.
Okay, let me start with one. So the other day, I was totally annoyed with my husband, but instead of saying anything, I just stewed in it. And I gave off this whole vibe like, you should know I'm mad. And of course, he didn't. Then I got more upset because he didn't ask what was wrong. And it spiraled, all because I didn't communicate. Oops.
Oopsie. Girl, I feel that. Mine is time blindness. I overbook myself like I live in a different time zone. I recently scheduled a homeschool planning day, a podcast recording, a doctor's appointment, and a grocery pickup all before 2 p.m. It was chaos, pure chaos.
Well, this episode isn't about beating ourselves up. It's about becoming aware of the ways that we unintentionally light the chaos match.
And learning how to hold the lighter a little less often. So today's chaos anthem is dun 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 dun. Annie, take it away.
Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift.
Awesome. Perfect song. I just love it. How about your Annie update? What has been going on?
Yeah, we are just in the thick of reintegration, which has been, I guess, easy because both of our kids are gone right now. We were actually supposed to be on this great hiking trip, reintegrating on a hiking trip. But with Andre hurting his back, that didn't happen. And I have to say, it's been really nice to just have him home to reintegrate and, get everything unpacked and settled and building a routine that involves the adults. So then when the kids come back, we can, and it'll be like a gradual transition because Raina comes home first and then in a few weeks, Joel will be back. And so it's like our little family is just like piecing itself together.
I love that.
And the Katelynn currently, what's going on with you?
Yeah, so Katelynn currently is last night, Caden and I signed up for the YMCA so that we can try the e-gym that you tell us all about. And that was a super fun experience. So we both got set up and I actually went through and did a whole round of all of the machines.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I was feeling it when I was done and I thought that maybe I would be pretty sore today, but I'm not. So that's good. And I feel like it actually even helped my back feel a little bit better. So
see,
that was exciting. Yeah.
And
magic. Then the scooter debacle has finally come to its conclusion and we ended up just having to get a new scooter today. So
okay,
there's that. But at least we have it and the kiddo can take himself to and from work and school and all the things. So
the scooter chaos is over.
Yes, it is. So this week we're going to do What's My Snack? What has your snack been?
Snack? It has been sun butter on rice cakes.
Okay.
Just lightly salted plain rice cakes.
Okay.
That has been hitting it for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Awesome. Yeah. So we were actually just talking the other day about how I'm not much of a snacker, which I'm really not. I just kind of do my 3 meals, I
Yeah.
kind of have to force myself to do snacks. But recently I got Caden some trail mix and he did not like it, which was shocking. He was like, "Oh, I don't really like the taste of it. It's kind of hot." And it was the Nashville hot inspired trail mix. When I tried it, I immediately thought of Andre because I was like, well, he would like this. So I was like, I need to take some over and share with him. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty spicy for sure. So I guess I can see why Caden didn't love it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. I'm a fan.
I mean, I think I'm gonna have to pass on it, but I love that you love it.
Yeah. I figured you wouldn't like it. If anyone in your house did, it would be Andre for sure.
Yeah. I might have to get him some.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are some of the ways I, as a type A mama, create my own chaos. I definitely overplan until there is no margin. I love to like schedule all these things out with my day, but I don't build in room to like I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this and I'm gonna work out from this time to this time, and then I'm gonna take a shower from this time to this time, and then we're gonna do lunch from this time to this time. And there's no room for error. There's no room for the phone call that's going to come in or anything else. And then I hold myself to these high standards of accomplishing all these tasks. And then but like, I'm the only person accountable for it, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
affecting anybody else. So I have all this stress on my shoulders of like, it needs to be done by this time, but for no reason other
Yeah.
than like, I just want it to be done on that time.
Right. Yeah. And I think we even talked about that a little bit the other day when I asked you about working out, because sometimes I know it feels like your morning workout kind of holds your day hostage, is kind of
Mm-hmm.
the phrasing I used for it. So it's like you want to take the kids to the pool, but you've got to do this other stuff first. And I think I admire you so much for like putting that first and wanting to prioritize that. But then at the same time, it has to be frustrating sometimes for you, for your kids, for whoever you're trying to make plans with. If it's like, okay, that has to be the thing that comes first, right? And so
Right.
then I was like, oh, well, do you ever work out at night? Because I'm very much like an evening workout person if I'm going to work out. But
And I'm
that, I
like,
mean,
immediately no.
yeah, but you're like, no, that is not my thing. So, I mean, that makes
Well,
sense.
I mean, the pool also doesn't open until like 11:30 or 12:30. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm like, well, if I can get all this other stuff done, then we can just like have no time limit at the pool or, have 4 hours at the pool or all of
Yeah,
that. So,
absolutely. So, what
yeah.
else have you got? What are some other type A chaos creating habits?
I like to bottle things up in the name of efficiency. So I do consider myself good at communicating, but if the communication is going to make things not efficient, like if it's going to create an argument or something like that, I will just bottle it up and be like, okay, well, we're just going to scoot past that because I don't have time. I don't have time
Yeah.
for that. But sometimes those arguments need to happen or those
Yeah,
deeper discussions need to happen. So,
absolutely. Communication's super important.
yep, for sure. I also expect everyone to follow a system that they didn't sign up for. So I'm trying to be a little bit better about that. I definitely like things done my way on my schedule. And that doesn't work with a 10 and an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
So, and a husband
Yeah, I was going to
reintegrating.
say, sometimes not even a husband because they've got their own plans, right?
Yep. Yep. And, and within all of that, I often react too fast instead of slowing down and being like, okay, you're not on my schedule. So now it's time to slow down and come to your schedule, which I think is important for kids because they're on their own time, right?
Yeah, for
Mm.
sure.
And I love to add like 17 tasks to my to-do list for the sake of just getting to check them off.
Yep.
But like even that's overwhelming for me because we have like this like flat magnetic dry erase board that's on our fridge. And that is where like all the important notes and the to-do list go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will add the most ridiculous things to that to-do list for the pure pleasure of just getting to erase them. But then I see all those things on there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's so
so
funny. And that's even, I mean, nobody is purely type A or purely type B, but that is something I do. Like, and mine's not dry erase. Mine is like notepads everywhere. But
Right.
I love to put something on a list. And sometimes even after I've done something, I'll be like, oh, that wasn't on my list. I should put it on there so I can check it off.
I can appreciate that.
Yep.
There's nothing like that with your pen or the swipe with the dry erase marker. So,
Absolutely.
and I'm rubbing off on Joel. Like, it's like I can't quite tell what my kids are yet, if they're type A, if they're type B. Like they have thresholds for both, right? But it's funny because I know this is going to be a surprise, but I meal plan our meals every week so that, like, when I go to the grocery store, I'm not like, what are we going to have and what am I going to buy? Like, everything is in its own little proper package, right?
Yep.
So I will make a meal plan. And in my head, I'm like, okay, well, if we get busy, I can swap Tuesday with Wednesday because Wednesday's dinner is going to be a little bit faster than Tuesday's dinner. And so that's my thought process when I make that meal plan. But Joel, on the other hand, he will look at it and he is like, Mom, today is Wednesday. I looked at the calendar and your meal plan says we're having spaghetti. And I'm like, buddy, we are too busy for spaghetti tonight. He's like, nope, that is what I had my heart set on. We need spaghetti for dinner. So I just like,
Oh,
I have to chuckle when he does that because I'm like, you got that from me, buddy. That is not the Jamaican in you.
yes, absolutely. And, I think that there's a lot of kids that are like that where it's not that they're inflexible, but it's like once they get something in their head, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
that they want it to turn out that way. So when like the result and expectations don't, go together. And so, yeah,
Right.
it's probably his little mind is just like, no, we were supposed to do this thing and now it's not happening and that does
Right.
not feel good to me.
I know. And I'll be like, we're practicing being flexible. And then it's like, I'm nom nom nom. I'm eating my own words, right? Because I am so not the one to practice flexibility. And now I'm like, now I have to because my kid is getting on me. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yep. Yep. That makes sense. I
So
love
kids are
that.
humbling.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So, do you have solutions for our type A listeners? Things that you find are helpful when you're trying to like mitigate some of this chaos that you might be creating?
Sure. Yeah. I try to build some buffer time into the day. So, trying to allot for those phone calls that are going to come in or the day kids wake up sick and the whole schedule is off, just like giving myself grace because we don't have to have a tight schedule right now to just kind of go with it. Be like water, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, and
Masterwood will love that reference if he
right?
listens.
That's right. That's right. I'm trying to communicate before I combust.
Okay.
So I've definitely, I mean, you were the one that had that come to Jesus with me where you were like, Annie, why aren't you just saying what you feel? And I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. And I
Yes,
think
you
it's like,
can.
I've actually been thinking about those words when you pulled me aside and I was like, I'm so mad at Andre right now for not knowing to do these things. And you were like, so tell him. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, when you're living long distance for so long, you don't want arguments when you're
Yeah.
together. So I think that was a big, because I do pride myself on being a good communicator, but I think that was a big thing for me where it was like, I don't want to spend the 36 hours that we are going to get together for this time period. I don't want to spend that arguing
Yeah.
and being tense and having hard conversations. And so I think I got really good at like putting those away and not having those. And
Yeah.
so now I definitely am trying to communicate better. And that is a goal that I will continue to work on now that he's not leaving anymore. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I recommended that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I think that's the way it goes because I feel like that one was a really good read. And it was really just because we all do this. We go to our friends and we're like, well, I wish he would have just done dot, dot, dot. And that is now always my first question to people is like, "Well, did you tell him that? Does he know?"
Right.
Right? Like, because men are like, they want to know how to, I think I said to you, like, they wanna know how to serve us well, right? They want to
Right.
know how to keep their family happy, and they want to do the right things and do it well, right? And now sometimes women can be, um, very much like, "Well, we want it done our way," right? So we have to be
Right.
grateful for help even if it doesn't come in the same form. But yeah, I think just like unspoken expectations are always hard, whether it's, a couple or if it's a parent and child. It's so important to just be clear about, "This is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I expect from you." And so if he doesn't know that, then it's hard to hold him accountable, right? If you've
Sure.
never expressed it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my biggest piece is like, yeah, you can tell him. You can tell him that when you're like, I didn't want to have to pick dinner, then yep, okay, so Andre, I don't want to pick dinner tonight. I want you to figure it out because I'm
Right.
tired of making decisions.
I have decision fatigue.
Yes. Yep.
And then another plan, or I'm sorry, another solution is, just ditching the plan if it's no longer serving me. And, I'm very committed to everything that I do and giving myself grace to just be like, okay, that doesn't feel good. So I'm not going to do that anymore, which is, it's hard to do that when I want to complete tasks and check all the boxes. But yeah, I don't have to be a superhero.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we've had to ditch plans and change plans, when we're out doing our stuff. And I think back to Mother's Day, and we had great plans that day, and it did not, the kids were not having it, and it didn't
Nope.
go well. And so, yeah, that was like, okay, well, we have to ditch this plan and do something different, which we did, and it turned out fine. But
Yeah. Nope. All right. Type B, mama. What about you?
yes. So, how laid back moms like me still make a mess when it comes to chaos. So, for the Type B crew, here is how I accidentally summon the chaos gods. I underestimate how long everything takes. And it is so, like, unintentional. I do my best to be on time to things, but and I do the whole, like, ADHD thing where you count backwards. We were just talking about this the other day, where it's like, "Okay, I need to be there at 2 p.m., so then I need 1 hour to get ready, and I need 30 minutes for lunch," and you count backwards to
Right.
figure out, like, what time you need to start everything. But then for a lot of people with ADHD, you get so overwhelmed with, "Okay, I have all these things to do until this appointment, and I feel like if I'm gonna start doing them, I know I stink at time management, and so I feel like I'm going to take too long and then not get there on time." So then you just kind of freeze and you don't do anything. And so then you have all these wasted hours, right? Where you're just
Sure.
waiting for the important appointment to happen or something. So I hope some people can relate to that because, yeah, the time thing is really, really hard for me, which means that I try to fit too much in, right? Because I'm like, oh, well, that'll
Right.
only take 15 minutes and that'll only take 30 and it only takes me 20 minutes to get here. And it's kind of like what you're saying with overbooking yourself. It's just that mine is like underestimating, how long it's all actually going to take. So
Right.
very similar in that way. I
I'll never
also,
forget when when we were meeting up and you actually beat me there and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I beat
yes,
you."
yes. I know, it was, like, the one time that I got somewhere before you did, which was amazing. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, "Booyah, Annie, I'm here
It
first."
was so funny. Your face.
Yep, yep, because it's again, it's something that it's like, "Ugh, I try so hard," and, I'm not one of those people that's just like, "La-di-da, I don't care if people have to wait on me. I'm just gonna show up when I want to." Like, that is not it at all. I'm, like,
Right.
really trying hard to get there and very disappointed every time it doesn't happen. So and I have a kid who loves to be on time places, so that also makes it super stressful because he's, like,
Yep.
yelling at me, "We have to leave."
Yep.
But, yeah, so then I also put off hard conversations until they're much harder, similar to your bottling things up, and then prioritizing calm so much that boundaries get blurry. So, just time management, prioritizing the calmness, like no hustle and bustle. Let's not over schedule ourselves and things like that. But that can get get blurry a little bit
Sure.
sometimes when it comes to the things that have to get done and things like that. But I think that it might be helpful for our listeners to understand, you might be a type B chaos creator if you do some things like I do. So a couple of like specific examples would be you meant to respond to that school email last week and you still haven't done it yet.
Right.
That's a common occurrence for me. Just emails in general, because I also have 5,000 in my inbox. And then you planned to clean the house today, but need a nap first. You needed a nap first, and so it didn't get done. So just those distractions. And
Right.
because, it can be exhausting having all of these tabs open in your brain and things to do. So,
Sure. Well,
yeah.
so what are some of your solutions?
So, solutions that I have been working on are time blocking with alarms. So, I will kind of give myself okay, this amount of time is for cleaning, and I'm not going to do any more than that. I'm not going to hyper focus and get, too in the weeds. And I'll set an alarm to remind myself to stop, because that also is a lot of it with ADHD. You can, yes, be inattentive, but you can also hyper focus on things. And so if
Sure.
I'm hyper focused on something, then the time gets away from me. And so having those just soft alarms of okay, time to transition to the next task is really helpful. And then when it comes to relationships, friendships, even, my relationship with my son, just saying things before you spiral. So not holding it all in. And that can be difficult, but it's better to be proactive in those situations. So I've got to hold myself to the same advice that I gave you of just
Sure.
say it, right?
Right. Yep.
And then creating structure that supports your softness. So realizing that, your structure is never going to look like mine, right? Like your
Right.
structure would never work for me. I would just feel like my day was just this huge obstacle, right, to
Right.
overcome, and that I would be even more exhausted by that. And so I have to have a lot more flexibility in my schedule and just time for rest, time for breaks. I definitely need midday time to recharge, because I do tend to be a bit of a night owl. And so if I can kind of like almost lean into the afternoon slump and instead of trying to push past it and get over it, if I just accept that I have an afternoon slump and I need to have a little bit of a break and a mental, my brain just needs to stop for a little while, then that helps me get more energy to get through the evening.
Sure.
And yeah, just I think respecting our natural rhythms. If you're a super energetic person in the morning and you can go to the gym at 5 a.m. like Annie,
High intensity Annie.
then maybe you're a type A. Type A chaos creator. But yeah, you would never catch me at the gym at 5:30 in the morning. I already don't want to go, and I especially don't want to go when I could be comfy in my bed. So
Right.
that is the difference between the two of us. But yeah, so those are some of my solutions for those type B mamas like me.
Well, let's talk about parenting chaos. Sometimes our kids are melting down because we are.
Yes, I have misunderstood my son so many times just because I was too distracted or too snappy.
Oh, same. I snap at my kids and then they escalate. And then I wonder, why is there so much tension?
Yeah, yep. So let's talk about some tips for that. So kind of back to the focus on communication. One of the things that you can do is say, can you say that again in a calmer voice? Something like
Yes.
that. A lot of times I'll look at Caden and just be like, can you try saying that to me again? And that's kind of his cue of oh, I think I was maybe a little rude in the way that I said that. And he
Sure.
tends to be pretty self aware, but I think just having a phrase that you use regularly will help the people around you, kind of recognize their behavior, because then they hear how many times you've had to say that phrase to them. And I think
Right.
that it can help them just, yeah, be more self-aware of the way that they're communicating.
Yeah, that's the same with Joel. He's our yeller. And I mean, I he gets it honestly. I'm a yelling mom, working on that. I've
Yeah.
gotten better, but he definitely he will just if the dog's barking, he just lays into her and I'm like, "Bud."
Yep.
We need to calm down a little bit. So yeah, we're working on him with the calmer voice.
Yep, that makes sense. Caden does that with the dog too, and what's funny is that he's not usually a yeller. His is more of like attitude
Mm-hmm.
is his thing. But he does that with the dog too. I don't know. I wonder if it's just like sensory overload for Joel and Caden, and they're just
Sure.
like, please shut up.
Right. Well, they're like basically the same person. So
Yeah, they could totally be brothers.
right. How funny.
So another one is, what do you need from me right now? Which this is kind of
Yeah.
the opposite of my advice to you with Andre and your, frustration that you were having. You know, I was telling you, obviously go to him and be like, this is what I need right now. But sometimes if we notice that a loved one is struggling, it's really good for us to be aware of that and go offer, that if they feel incapable, maybe they're non-confrontational, maybe they're afraid to start that conversation. But if you can tell something is wrong or someone is melting down, kind of going into a chaos spiral,
Right.
it's good to go to them and be like, okay, what is it you need from me right now? Because sometimes we misinterpret that, sometimes we
Yeah.
think it's one thing and in their mind, it's something totally different.
I've been just ever so slightly doing a little bit of research on parenting a teenager since we're getting into the preteen years. And I was reading something that helps better communicate with your preteen, your teen. And it was saying in conversations that your kids are having with you where there's like a conflict, to ask your kids, do you need me to listen or do you need me to give you advice? And I
Yes.
thought that was really, really good. Like, I'm grown adult and I would be fine with somebody saying those words to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've been just thinking about that a lot.
Yeah, I love that. I love that question. And it's so true that it doesn't matter how old you are, that question is really helpful. And that kind of goes back to that, men and women book, because men want to solve things. They want to be the problem solver, they want to fix it. And so sometimes as women, we want to vent about something and we just want them to listen
Right.
and they want to fix things. And then we're like, I don't need you to fix it, or I don't like your solution or whatever. So yeah, I think that's really important. Just being able to communicate what you need and ask others to communicate what they need.
Sure.
The last one is, let's take 5 and try it again. So I do this with Caden. When I can tell that conversation is about to go badly, then a lot of times I will say that, let's take 5 and try again. And especially as he's gotten older and more self-aware, a lot of times he'll end up like sending me a text message from the other room. I'm sorry, I didn't say that nicely, or I'm sorry I wasn't thinking about the way you're seeing this. So I think just having a minute to take some breaths and cool down a little bit, pause the conversation from getting heated is really
Sure.
important.
Yep, for sure.
All right, so let's talk about reframing the chaos and what we've learned as we've kind of worked on this podcast episode. It's been very insightful.
Yes.
I've learned that a lot of my chaos comes from trying to do too much all at once, which my mother could have told you that that was the case because she's told me that my entire life. So sometimes moms do know things.
Right?
But when I slow down and give myself structure that works for me, everything changes.
Yeah, same. Just because I can do all the things doesn't mean I should. I've learned to say no and to delegate and to just be okay with good enough. That's recent for me. Like, as much of a perfectionist as I am, I really have just over the last several months really tried to let go and be like, okay, well, this is good enough, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So the thing is, chaos isn't always bad, honestly, but it doesn't have to be self-inflicted. So we want to talk a little bit about the self-awareness that I think both of us have developed through, diving into this topic,
Hmm.
and some things that we're working on right now. So for me, I have realized over, I would say it's been a few years, but definitely more so even recently, that I can be very direct with people. And I have had to be more gentle with Caden than, than I naturally want to be. And I noticed that
Sure.
quite a while ago. But I think that what helped me notice it is that I noticed my mom lived with us for a very long time. We've lived with each other back and forth after I got divorced.
Mhm.
And I would notice when she would speak to him in a way that was a little more direct, a little critical, his reaction was vastly different than if I, like, took some breaths and was like, "Hey, buddy, like, where is this coming from?" And, like, tried to, I guess, gentle parent him a little bit, but that's honestly what he needs, because if you don't
Right.
gentle parent him in that way, it's nobody's gonna be happy, right?
Right.
Anything that comes across as an accusation or criticism just sets him right off, and so it's just not the tactic, right? And so we all
Yeah.
have to, I think, adapt to our kids' personalities, and so I've had to adapt to him on that I can't be very direct and blunt, and I have to be more gentle with my communication.
Yeah.
So what about you? What has come up for you when it comes to the self-awareness?
Yeah, I that I don't have to do everything. I really had this big epiphany at the end of the school year going into summer, what I wanted summer to look like with my kids. And my kids, they can and they want to help. And I need to let them help.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so that's like what I'm working on right now is that I can take the time this summer because we have more downtime and I can teach the kids how to do things. They want to learn how to like separate eggs from the yolk from the white and like what a disaster, okay? Like
yeah,
I have to go to a very special place for that in my head because it's a disaster. It's a mess. It's like when I do it, it can be an absolute mess, but they want to learn and they need to learn. And then I can also teach them that it's given me the time to teach them, okay, so now we have to clean it up and you have to clean it up the way I want it cleaned up until you move to your own place and you can clean it up however you want. I hope you still clean it up the way I would clean it up because a napkin swiped over an egg isn't going to cut it. Like we got to disinfect that.
yeah, for sure.
And I'm like cleaning up a watermelon if they drop it. And I'm like, the napkin doesn't cut it. Like, put your finger back down on it. And they're like, oh, it's sticky. I'm like, yep. You got to like follow that up with some water, disinfect it.
Yep, absolutely. It's so funny because Caden will ask me that when he makes a mess. He's like, "So just like water or no?" Like, he knows to ask
Right.
as far as like, can I just use like a paper towel with water on it, or do I need other stuff? And so
Sure.
I've been explaining that same thing to him. Like, things that get sticky, they will just stay there if you don't use a little bit of soap or, some cleaner or whatever. And the disinfecting thing that you're talking about for sure when it comes to certain foods. So yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely stuff that they have to learn so that they're not total slobs when they leave our
Right.
homes.
Right. Well, that's like the whole idea of parenting, right? We're trying to spend these 18 years so that they can go out and be independent people. And that's the sign of success as a parent, right? Is
Yes.
that they can be adults and they can do the things to take care of themselves. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
so I jumped
So
in there and said what I was working on and I
that's
jumped over
okay.
your turn. So your turn.
Yeah,
What are you
no,
working on right now?
totally fine. Yep. So right now I am working on not interrupting because I think I know where the convo is going, right?
Yeah.
So with Caden, a lot of times he'll start in on something and it is something that either we have already discussed and I'm like so tired of talking about it, or I've already said no, or I just am like, oh, this is ridiculous. I know where this conversation is going. I'm going to shut it down because I think that I'm saving him time, right? I'm like,
Right.
save your breath. The answer is no. Um, but that doesn't feel good to anybody, and I've had to realize that, like, well, if I had an idea or if I had something I wanted to do and I went to someone and they were just like, "Nope," immediately
Right.
shutting you down, like, I'd be pretty mad too.
Yep.
And he doesn't get mad. He's actually like his response has been very healthy and appropriate, and he'll just be like, "Mom, I was talking. Can you not interrupt me?" And sometimes I'll be like, okay, but I feel like this is going in a direction that like is going to start an argument or that I'm already going to say no to. And but a lot of time his favorite thing is to just say like, okay, hear me out, right? And so
Right.
that's what our kids want. They want us to hear them out, even if we end up saying no. And he is being more open to my reasons for saying no as he's maturing and everything.
Sure.
So sometimes he may not like that I'm saying no or that I don't want to do his idea, but he is open to at least hearing why and understanding it and, like, accepting it and everything. So, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. because he's becoming a very independent teenager, but I
Sure.
have to stop interrupting, stop assuming that I know where the conversation is going, and just let him talk. And even if the answer is no, even if he wasted all this time talking about something, giving me his spiel because he's like a master negotiator, even if I say no, it's okay. Like, I still allowed him to express himself,
Right.
and that's what he ultimately wants. And so,
Right.
yeah, that is what I'm working on right
Just
now.
got to get it out.
Yes. Yes. And not feel dismissed. That's
Right.
the feeling that I was trying to describe, is like, yeah, none of us want to be dismissed. So,
Right. All right, friends, we want to hear from you. What is one way you accidentally create your own chaos?
yes. And what is one small shift you've made that helps? You can DM us, tag us in your stories, or drop a comment on the episode post that we put on Facebook or Instagram and let us know.
Yeah, we'll be sharing some of your answers in an upcoming episode, so give it to us.
Yes. Yeah. And I think here pretty soon we're going to be talking about some ways that type A and type B moms command chaos well, because you know what? We also need to give ourselves a little pat on the back
That's
after
right.
we've kind of roasted ourselves today.
Right.
So
We
we'll
do a
be
good
back.
job.
We do. We do. So we will be back next week, and we'll talk to you then. All right, Chaos Crew, that's a wrap for today. If you loved this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow commanders.
Don't forget, we're all in this together. Join the conversation in our Chaos Commanders community on Instagram and Facebook, where we keep it real, raw, and ridiculously fun.
Remember, our fears establish the limits of our lives, so go push past them.
And always leave others better than you found them.